let's go ahead and take a look at my collection as of January 2024. What? Wait, what? Okay, so here it is. I did it, I built the shelf and it fit perfectly here in this little corner, which I am obsessed with. There was a moment there where I was scared that it wasn't going to fit. It did. Also, what do we think about the outfit? I feel like it's giving Shakespeare teacher, but then hold on. It's giving Shakespeare teacher that listens to Bikini Kill. Do you know what I mean? Anyways, it's winter time, so it's going to be getting dark pretty soon. So the lighting will change here and there. We're going to fill up this shelf, but not entirely. I'm trying to think of how I want to organize my books. I think the bottom shelf is going to be my shelf for novels. I want to collect some Japanese fiction titles, and I think the top two shelves we're going to reserve for manga only, since that is primarily what's in my collection. And then once everything is nice and settled, I'm gonna go ahead and walk you through my entire collection. So without further ado, let's get organizing. Okay, so just want to give you a rundown of what I'm thinking. My manga that I've read is on these shelves and they're all alphabetized by the author's last name. So these shelves, I'm thinking they're gonna contain A through N, and that is because I really want to have One Piece spread out on that bookcase over there. So I'm gonna have to move all of the manga volumes that go from O onwards. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. Okay, I'm actually really happy with these shelves because they're nice and deep, and I could put a riser here and still clearly see the titles that are behind. So that would be great to increase space. Okay, that is so satisfying. Okay, so I just finished moving all of the manga from N to Y. I think it looks great. And now I can afford to move this manga, just spread it out a bit so it's not so close together. That way when I get new volumes, I have some space to put those. So I'll go ahead and get started on that. That was such a dramatic gasp. I can easily remove these stickers or sticker residue, so I'm not worried about that. Awesome. Now I have another one of these, and I think I'm still waiting for number 11 and 12.
So somehow in this conversation where Kate is talking to a real life supervillain, they have also distorted time and space.
Wow. Okay, so I have another volume of Nabari no O. This is volume 8. I've been slowly getting these. I need volume 6 and I have volume 7 on the way. It's really hard to get these books since they are out of print. This is one that's an ex-library copy, but it looks pretty good. The spine is a little bit faded, but that's all right. The cover looks pretty good. There's not a ton of damage. So I'm happy to have this. I really hope I can get a hold of volume 6 soon so I can read more of this series. Okay, and we have volume 11 of Ottoman. This one feels really chunky in comparison to the other volumes. This said that it was a new copy. Looks pretty good. There's some light scuffing, but nothing bad. And now I have volume 11. I need volume 16, 17, and 18, and then this series will be complete in my collection. Volume 16 is surprisingly harder to get a hold of than I thought. I feel kind of silly now, but I actually didn't realize that Ottoman was an out-of-print series. You can still find some of the volumes like online on Barnes & Noble or different retailers, but lots of the volumes are not available anymore. So that's why I've been buying a lot of these off of thrift books, since they have a lot of ex-library books like this one. So yeah, I'm on the hunt for volume 16 of this series, which seems to be maybe the hardest one to get. Volume 17 and 18, I've been able to see those used on different websites, so not worried about those. It was probably a bad idea to collect 2 series that are out of print, but at least Ottoman is available digitally. You can get it on the Kindle or the Nook as an ebook. So if you're interested in this series, I would opt to read it digitally just because it'll be easier to get all of the volumes. All right, and that's everything I got in this haul. I'll see you in the next clip. Hello reader friends, it is much later, but I am done. My shelf is here, I have books on it, I've organized everything alphabetically and cleaned things up, so let's go ahead and take a look at my collection as of January 2024. Okay, so starting at the TBR cart, we have Spy Family, the official guidebook, as well as the case files for Miles Edgeworth, and this is what it looks like. My Hero Academia Team Up Missions Volume 1, which I got for my birthday in August, still haven't read it. I also got volumes 1 and 2 of Ocarina of Time, that completes the series. Next up we have Twilight Princess. These are volumes 4, 5, and 6. We have a Full Metal Alchemist light novel, this is The Ties That Bind, and here we have volumes 10 through 20 of What Did You Eat Yesterday? This is everything currently released in English in the US. We have the One Piece Omnibus, volumes 19, 20, and 21. So back here it's a little hard to see, but I have volumes 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 of Ottoman. So there they are there. And I have a volume of Nabari no O, volume 8. Okay, and now we're going to move on to all of the manga that I've read. So this goes from A to Z according to the author's last name. You can see there's some movies. Those are just there for now. And yes, these are empty instant coffee containers. I don't have bookends, so I use those instead. But enough rambling. Let's get into the part of my collection that I've already read. So here we have volumes 1 through 27 of Full Metal Alchemist. This is the complete series. And from the same mangaka, we have Daemons of the Shadow Realm volumes 1 and 2. And here I have Thus Spoke Rohan Kishibe in Spanish, Así Habló Kishibe Rohan, volumes 1 and 2. And this is printed on beautiful paper. The paper is wider than typical manga volumes, and it just really makes the illustrations stand out. I love this series. Next we have Shoha Shoten, which was actually a gift. A friend of mine went to a library event, and I think they were handing out copies of this for free, and they just gave it to me, which was really sweet of them. And I'm still reading this series, but I've switched to reading it digitally. And right next to that, we have Yokohama Kaidashi Kiko. These are the omnibuses, 1, 2, and 3. And moving over to the right, we have Ace Attorney Phoenix Wright, Official Casebook Volume 1. This is a silly, goofy read, very weird, but I still appreciate it as a fan of Ace Attorney. And here we have Omnibus 1 and 2 of XXX Holic. I just realized that these top parts right here are slightly different colors. I love this series. I do not like these omnibuses though, so I'm done collecting them physically. I'm going to read the rest of the series digitally. And right next to that we have Spy Family 1 through 10. This series is lovely. And here we have my latest obsession, Villains Are Destined to Die, volumes 1 through 5. We also have the Minish Cap Phantom Hourglass and Twilight Princess volumes 1 through 3. And moving down to this bottom shelf, we have volumes 1 through 5 of Nabari no O. This series is severely out of print, and I decided to get obsessed with it. Bad idea, but I'll eventually get all the volumes one way or another. And here we have Our Dreams at Dusk by the same mangaka, Yuki Gamatani, and of course, their other work, Shonen Note Boy Soprano. So this shelf is one of my favorites, since they are my favorite mangaka at the moment. And right next to that, we have Otomen volumes 1 through 10. I currently have all the way up to 15. The others are on the TBR cart as we just saw. This series is just about how anybody of any gender can have any hobbies, and that's pretty much it. Be happy, have your hobbies. And moving on over here, we have Usotoki Rhetoric volumes 1 through 4. And then we have El Verano en que Hikaru Murió. This is the Spanish version of The Summer Hikaru Died. This one is lovely. Well, first of all, this series is creepy, but this book itself is lovely. I love this red detailing that is on the book. I love the full color illustrations. And this is also printed on beautiful stark white paper, so it really makes the illustrations jump out, which is great for a horror series. And I've actually moved from collecting this series physically to just reading it digitally, because I only want to get the Spanish versions from now on, but they're very hard to find if you're in the US. And then next to that we have Cat Gamer 1 and 2. Super lovely series. If you love gaming and cats, highly recommend that one. And next to that we have an autobiography manga, Until I Meet My Husband, and here we have some mangas that are either duplicates or ones that I do not like and want to get rid of. And so all of the manga we went through just now is from A to N. So now we're gonna go ahead and move on to the rest of the alphabet. So here's just a look at my shelf. I decided to put some books here at the top that are just significant to me in some way. So we have Rohan at the Louvre. If you've been here on my channel long enough, you know that I am obsessed with Rohan. We also have Askiwata, which compiles some of his words of wisdom that he shared with us before he passed away. He's someone that I really look up to, so I have this book here. And we also have Fire Emblem Awakening, the art book. I love Fire Emblem so much, so I put that there. And of course, another Fire Emblem book. This is the Fire Emblem Engage art book. Love the game, love the art in it. It's beautiful. So now let's move on to the manga on the shelves. So here, of course, we have One Piece. I do not have volumes 1, 2, and 3. I read those at my library and then got hooked onto the series, saw these beautiful omnibuses that were available, and I just knew that I wanted to collect them physically, so these are the ones that I've read. Next to that, we have The Savior's Book Cafe Complete 1 through 5. It's such a cute, fluffy series. And we have Dragon Drive Volume 1, which is very random, but I have this because there was a library sale going on at my local library, and someone set it aside for me, thinking that I might enjoy it, and I thought that was very sweet. It was only 50 cents, so I went ahead and picked it up, and now it's here. And will I ever read any of the other volumes? I'm not really sure. They're out of print, hard to come by, so maybe, maybe not. Next up, we have Associate Professor Akira Takatsuki's Conjecture Volumes 1 and 2. I love this series. I love it so much. It combines so many things that I'm obsessed with. Skeptics, ghosts, spirits, and Japanese mythology. Yes, I am obsessed. And another obsession, Witch Hat Atelier. We have volumes 1 through 11. These are all of the ones that are currently available. We're gonna get volume 12 sometime in the spring. And here comes my first exception to following the rule of the alphabet. I have Witch Hat Atelier Kitchen Volume 1. This is by Hiromi Sato, so this is not in the correct space, but I wanted to have it right next to Witch Hat Atelier, so I thought it was fine to make this exception. And next up we have Persona 3, one of my favorite video games. I just had to represent it on my shelf, so I got Volume 1, and one of my favorite BLs right next to that are Not So Lonely Planet Travel Guide, Volumes 1 through 4. Beautiful series. We have Akane Banashi. This is such a great series as well. I haven't picked up the new volumes, but I intend to. BL Metamorphosis Volume 1, March Comes In Like a Lion, Blue Period 1 and 2. This is a series that I'm a bit on the fence about. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep collecting it physically. I might just read it digitally on a library service because I'm not really sure how I feel about it, but I also don't necessarily want to stop reading it. Then here we have The Restorer's Home. And this is a manhwa, and I'm really into the story, but I'm super bummed with the publishers. There are some glaring issues with grammar, spelling, and it just takes away from the reading experience, so I'm still invested in the story, but I don't want to pay $20 for a book that is not well edited, so I'm gonna switch over to digital for that series. That way, if there are more grammatical issues, maybe they could upload new files with the fixes. I'm not sure how that works, but I was really bummed about that. But anyways, moving on, we have What Did You Eat Yesterday? And it goes from volume 1 and wraps down over here to volume 9. And here I have my only light novel. And after that, the space is open. So as we can see there, my shelves are pretty open. I have that whole middle shelf and bottom shelf. I want the bottom shelf to be dedicated to art books, video game books, and light novels, as well as Japanese fiction, and the middle will just fill up with manga. Alright, and that concludes my manga tour, my book tour, my bookshelf tour, whatever you would prefer it be called. I have room to grow, which I am excited about, but I am in no rush to fill it out. So let me know down in the comments what was one of your favorite things that you saw in my collection, or what is something that maybe I should add based off of what is in my collection. And with that, I'm wrapping up today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!